You see, when I was following certain people, listening to videos, reading books, trying to go to, gurus that had the answers, I rarely heard it talked about like the real deal stuff. Like, what do you do? What do you do when the energies in your body, they just take over? The emotional energies, and then it's backed by the power of thought. Like the two go together. They like work as a double team. It can start as a thought because the mind knows how to get you. It knows the thoughts that's gonna like create heaviness and darkness. This is especially true when this is how people have bad trips on medicine too. I intuitively knew I just shouldn't do medicine when I was a teen. When I'm talking about medicine, I'm talking about drugs, psychedelics. I just knew to stay away from that when I was a teen and in my 20s because I just knew. Because when you do the medicine, your imaginary power and thought power, it increases. Now that's real good if you're already in a good space, and then you can say, oh, well, I really enjoy it. But if you're not, just one dark thought can like trigger hours of just heaviness, you see? So then people don't want to be around you. I never needed to experience that, but that's what happens. So the point is, the mind and the emotional body, it like takes the consciousness like hostage, because the mind knows how to get you. It knows what thoughts to think. Oh, why didn't, look what I did in the past. Why did I do that? Or I'm never going to get it, or I'm never going to do this, or just it creates some hopeless scenario because it knows that you believe in it. See, the problem isn't the thought. That thought could happen inside someone else's mind and they don't even pay any attention to it. Or the mind doesn't even do it because there's no reason to. But it knows your particular karma, and so it's God's agent. I made a video, Devil's God's agent. It's going to expose your weaknesses and limitations. So that thought will come up, and then all of a sudden, you like feel yourself like, oh, damn it, now I'm gonna have a bad day or night because like this thought, I'm playing with this thought, and then it creates the emotion, the feeling to go with it, and then everything looks super real, super dark. Okay, that can get super intense in some people. I mean, people kill themselves, so there's different degrees of intensity. So what good does it do? This goes back to what I was originally sharing when I was looking for help. What good does it do just to hear or read something that says, well, but you're already the pure self, and there's only love and all that? Like all it does is make it, for me, it would make it worse. I'm like, yeah, that's easy to say when you're like feeling that. But like, do you have any idea of like what I'm talking about? Of what level of experience that you can have in this human form? No, they don't know. Most don't know. If they did, they would acknowledge it more. They don't know. They don't have the actual experience of going through the real grind and transcending it. It's just not the cards they've been dealt. It doesn't matter if they're, what some may feel, some high-level master. If they didn't actually have the actual human experience, they don't know what you're talking about. They'll apply. I mean, it's not like they're lying, but when they remind you of your true nature, but there's the person they're talking to, they can feel that this person doesn't have any actual experience with navigating that. Then that creates this sense of separation, or they don't understand me, and oh no, then the mind likes that. Now I'm really alone. Oh no, I went to the master and he's also, or she just don't get it. They told me just be aware that they're just sensations and they're not real. Yeah, try that and see how well it works. So, and this channel, it's more tailored to those people that understand and actually have this level of experience because of their karma and their situation. Like this intense energies come up and you can't do anything about it, particularly people who have any kind of neurological imbalances or emotional physical imbalances. Physical imbalance. Damn it. Emotional or mental imbalances. Physical imbalances, they're just, man, they're nothing compared to if you have a mental and emotional imbalances and dysfunction. You cut your arm, or you broke a bone, okay, yeah, you just let it heal, or you're a little limited physically. But when your neurons aren't functioning right, and like you can go into a depression or a manic episode just over nothing, yeah, what are you gonna do? See, that's misunderstood a lot in this society. People understand if you're in a wheelchair, they understand, they have compassion, some empathy. Oh yeah, he can't, okay. But what about the emotional, mental body? What if people have imbalances there? Oh no, you just need to, get spiritual. If you're spiritual, you wouldn't have that. Oh yeah? So if the person in the wheelchair is spiritual, like they wouldn't have that? Well, no, that's different. Yeah, it's different because it's easier. Physical body is much less consequential in its negative effects than if you have emotional, mental disturbances. And karma decides all that. It's not personal, and no matter how imbalanced you might feel, it's still not who you really are. This needs to be really remembered. All right, so let's get into what do you do? I made 3 points. I want to make sure I didn't miss nothing. So the main point of the video is talking about what do you do, those that understand this, what do you do when you're like, you're taken over by such intense, powerful energies inside you. And it's not so simple. You can't just remedy with some breath work or some yoga or meditation. And then on top of that, you got to deal with the misunderstanding that you get from people or your spiritual community, the people that don't know, or the ones that actually have this, but they don't admit it. They want to blend in with everybody and pretend they don't have it. But then you see them alone. There's a camera on them 24 hours a day. You see, whoa, they're pretty unstable. But they don't. They want so badly to feel like they're not. Understandable, it's an instinct, like we want to be as healthy and as balanced as we can. But okay, you can't control that totally. So what do you do in that situation? This spiritual evolution is so intimate, it's so individual that, like, you know how intimate, you know why there's no teacher or master that can give you the directions to this? Here's why. You can't even give the directions to yourself. The adjustments that get made in your consciousness, the downloads that come, you can't even articulate it. Some of you know what I'm talking about. When you're in a state, the body, the emotional body, mental body, it's doing its thing. It's wreaking havoc on the level of human experience. And so you're trying to get rid of it. You've already been through all the classes and the courses, and you've taken all the herbs, and you've tried everything. Nothing works. It could take decades to figure that out, but in the end, you figure it out. You're like, damn. So then, something inside surrenders. It's automatic. You're not practicing surrender. You just surrender because, like, what are you gonna do? If 5 people come here with a gun, I don't need to, like, logically deduce that I need to surrender. It's just automatic. I'm like, okay. So that happens at some point with those who are dealing with these real existential situations. When you surrender, you start asking God. You start asking this power automatically. Somebody doesn't need to tell you to pray at that point. You're like, God, I know there's a deer. Here, you see it? I don't know. Did he run away by the time I turned the camera around? Yeah. I tried, but they're fast. when you're in these heavy, super heavy states and you're trying to get out of it, automatically you surrender. Automatically something starts praying. Okay, now we're getting to what I mean when I say this is very subtle instructions that you get. You start praying, you just, because you know, like only the divine can help me. You've tried everything. It's a good place to be in. You've hit bottom. And so you're listening for these, you're just like, what can I do? What God, what do I do? The adjustments that start getting made in your consciousness and how to navigate such intense experience, sometimes it's so subtle. You're hearing it, but you couldn't articulate it. You couldn't write it down. The instructions are so subtle. It's just something like, okay, just let go. I don't know, because I can't articulate it. This is the real medicine. This is the divine doctor that we need to find. This is our real master, our own higher self. There's nobody else can give you that formula because it's too subtle, it's too personal. Other teachers can take you so far, yeah, but they can't give you the real downloads that comes from inside. This is what shows you how to navigate these things. That's an evolutionary journey. You don't get some magic recipe in one moment and then I'm done. No, it's ongoing. It's evolutionary. But once you hook into it, you're like, I got it. Not as an ego, like I got it, but you're just like, oh, I'm tapped in. I know what it means now to have a relationship with the divine. Like I like really know what it means, you see? And so then you start to trust this power. Equally important is sometimes you can't hear it though. This is super important to accept sometimes you can't hear it. And then ask God, help me, like, I feel like I'm surrendering. I want to get out of this pain, but I can't get out of it. It's getting worse even. These neurotic, habitual patterns that the mind's running in. Like, okay, I can't get out of it. Okay, God, help me accept that for this moment right now, it seems like I just have to bear this. Can you help me bear this? At the same time, I'm open to receiving something. And then once you surrender that you're not getting it, then you might get it. You might get the download. It's how life works. It's all about like surrender. But surrender is a subconscious act. Can't do it with the mind. You naturally come to a state of surrender via evolutionary process at some point. So this is what I wanted to touch on today. These heavy things, how to handle that. You handle it by knowing you can't handle it. And then by like I say, interiorizing your consciousness and listening, being open to the downloads you get on how to navigate it. This is the highest doctor, divine doctor's highest doctor, highest therapist, highest master. There's no human form that even comes close. We have to find that and then cultivate that relationship and keep going. And then life becomes a little more bearable, a little more fun. You're like, well, you feel like what's the saying? God and I are a majority. You found without who cares? Like, oh, he don't like me anymore. She don't. Okay, that's okay. I got God. It's all good. But you're still a human. You still have emotional, sometimes attachment and detox. That's also normal, right? We don't want to get non-dual and act weird. All right, see you.